I kind of feel almost affiliate, we need to have a different word for it.
Got a little intro for you here. I'm going to read this out. Give you the justice I think that you deserve, as you are a legend. You're not going to say it, so we're going to say it for you. Legend in the industry. CJ's then grown into a massive ecosystem driving, I've got some vanity stats here, 150 million transactions and more than 28 billion, with a B, of annual revenue for your advertisers.
I had that imposter syndrome, which a lot of females naturally do. But you just get into the role. I was the first female to actually be going on maternity leave, so my HR woman was delighted, going, Linda, you're going to be our guinea pig and you need to tell us, what we need to do. Sam Altman had said originally the affiliate model is a no-brainer of how we should work this. So it's interesting, how they are going to monetize it. We see it as more, it's like performance marketing. It's not just your last click. What we've seen is 60 to 90% of the listings when you do certain of those LLM searches are content publishers that are already on our brand's affiliate programs.
Without upsetting them, what's sort of like the posh?
Oh, yeah. No, the
Ireland.
posh. So you've got an area in Dublin. So we've our post, it's your postcode. So we're D Dublin 6 would be a posh area, okay. D4, Dublin 4, south side.
So that's your West London of Dublin.
Yeah, you get the big houses and
do they have a posh Irish accent? Because again, to me,
well, if there's actually, have you ever heard of Russell Carroll Kelly?
No.
It's a piss take of they rock and they talk like that, right. And it's like, I did marketing, and I did do marketing. So and anyway, I do marketing. Yeah, so they kind of talk like that. Okay. So that's the posh accent. But there's a character. This guy is very funny, and there's a whole book, Russell Carroll Kelly. A lot of people know about. He used to write he had a column in the Irish Times, and then he ended up writing these books. But it's a total piss take, and it's all about South County Dublin, because it's all about what school your children go to, or what school you went to, and there's certain schools, the top 5 boys' school or the girls' school,
and whether you work in marketing,
marketing, or whatever you might be,
which we all do.
So you just had Paddy's Day.
We just had Paddy's Day.
So how was that?
It was great. Yeah. So, speaking of school, my boys go to a kind of rugby school. Okay. And so on Paddy's Day, there's a big rugby final against whoever gets to the final. It's on that day. And so we all went to that because our school, it's quite a small boys' school. Okay. Do you guys like rugby?
Yeah.
So the school my guys are in, Johnny Sexton went to that school. Ooh. Yeah. And actually, funnily enough, Brian O'Driscoll. So Johnny Sexton's son is in the junior school, and Brian O'Driscoll. Interesting. When they were, do you remember Brian O'Driscoll? I don't know who's retired now. He's a big Irish rugby player. Johnny and Brian O'Driscoll played together. His son is in the same class. Anyway.
What age group is that?
Oh, like young.
Right.
What are they?
Actually, they're not too old themselves, are they? Johnny Sexton.
Yeah.
What sort of age do they retire in rugby? I'm not following rugby that closely, but
mid-30s.
Mid-30s, I'd say.
So similar to football.
Yeah.
But their bodies get beat up a lot more, so maybe a bit earlier.
Stop. I mean, looking at these young guys. Anyway, long story short, the school got into the final for the first time in I don't know how long, playing against another school that has won it 2 years in a row. And we went to the match on Paddy's Day, and it was like,
wow,
we fucking drew. So it was 22-22, and they had to have a replay, which was yesterday. So my voice is a little...
I see.
And they had their replay yesterday, so you have to go through it all again. And I knew, I've friends of the moms whose boys are on. A lot of the boys on the team are in my boy's year. He's not big into the rugby. But anyway, we won.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
First time in 20-something years.
What's your boy's name?
Oh, my eldest is Sam.
He's the one who played. Who won?
No, he wasn't playing. No, none of them were playing. They were all there, just cheering them on. Yeah. But look, I'm thankful because I couldn't be watching. One boy had blood coming down his face, and it's just like one injured. They're so young, but they're huge.
Yeah, my boy's 4, but he cries and he needs a kiss. A magic kiss if he bumps him. I'm like, that didn't hurt. Yeah, come on, let's get him in rugby.
Honestly, they're battered, and they just stand up and then play on, and you're like, oh my god. Or they dislocate his shoulder, just pop it back in.
Yeah. What, and Karen playing?
Yeah,
fair play.
Ugh.
What's in the water over there?
Guinness.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We're really glad to have you, and we're we're as excited for this one. So you've got your milkshake, we've got ours.
My milkshake. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
You'll notice the Revwise blender over my shoulder here, which is custom made.
Are you diversifying?
Yeah, we're bringing out
There's a whole range
range
now, a whole Revwise
Yeah.
range.
If the podcast takes off, we'll be selling blenders.
Yeah.
No, but actually, I've got this idea because I always like to take things too far. So I'm like, okay, the podcast is going to go really well and everything. We've got the theming of marketing of milkshakes. But I'm like, what if we actually made the milkshakes with the guest? And it was like, and they had to pick pick their toppings, you know. And then there was a whole bit at the beginning that was like a major icebreaker because you see what could go wrong with that, and so that might end up happening next year.
You never know. Almost like a cooking show.
Or
they cook along.
Like a late night chat show, where they do the little activities.
Yeah, is it like is it over engineering, or is it like that's another cool unique thing to have in there? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But
noisy.
That's the idea, a bit too much chaos, and how long can you blend it for before people go, I'm not...
Yeah.
Hurt my ears.
Tune out the sound.
This is the problem with, I love to just over... And even if we did that and it worked, I'd be like, right, now they've got to wear chef's hats.
Yeah.
And
aprons.
So how can we take it so far? But we've got a little intro for you here. I'm going to read this out and give you the justice I think that you deserve, as you are a legend. I don't want to get ahead of the intro, but you are. You're not going to say it, so we're going to say it for you. Legend in the industry. So you are Linda O'Connell, and you're the Senior Vice President for the UK and Ireland for CJ, which is one of, if not the biggest affiliate network out there. Where you've been a powerhouse driving force for 2 decades, 20 years in the business. Your impressive rise from sales exec all the way up to a top-tier executive, now your VP, is a testament to your deep industry knowledge, your success in navigating the company's evolution through major global acquisitions, and we'll talk about some of those, and then its integration into Publicis Group. So you were there pre-Publicis, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
So beyond your commercial leadership, you're recognized as a trailblazer for workplace culture. You were the first female employee at CJ to go on maternity leave.
Yeah.
And subsequently, you helped to then shape the company's very supportive family policies. You're based in Dublin, which we just spoke about.
Yeah.
And you co-lead the CJ European growth strategy for the whole of Europe, but I think your official title is like VP of UK and Ireland. Yeah. You bring a lot of experience in. You're on high-level client services and growth, and we are just so hyped to have you here. So thank you.
Oh, my God. This is your life.
Which we're determined to make you cry.
Oh.
So the company spotlight. So CJ, obviously, anyone who's tuning in here, and we're trying to go for a wider audience than just affiliates with some of the guests and topics, but anyone in affiliates or in marketing or e-commerce will know CJ. You're a global powerhouse in performance marketing, helping brands to dominate the US and in European markets with their affiliate programs. Dates back to 1998 in Santa Barbara. That makes sense now for CJU. So that was the origin there, Santa Barbara. CJ's then grown into a massive ecosystem driving, I've got some vanity stats here, 150 million transactions and more than 28 billion with a B of annual revenue for your advertisers. That's quite hard to get your head around. As a key pillar of the Publicis Group, CJ sits at that cutting edge between media and data, providing an unparalleled network that connects 3,800 brands with a staggering 180,000 publishers. Every network's got a lot of publishers, right? Every major network.
Yeah.
But the brands, I think, really are the unique ones. Who's choosing to use you? I haven't got the names here, but I'd love you to name drop some brands if you can think
we work across so many diverse verticals, like travel. We work with all the top OTAs like Booking.com, Expedia, a lot of the airlines as well, Qatar, Cathay. And then in retail, one of our longest clients that I used to manage as an account manager is Argos. They've been with us for probably over 20 years.
Wow.
And now they were part of Sainsbury's. So we work with all the Sainsbury's brands. We work with Dell, a lot of clothing brands. So,
And that's all just the European ones, just you're probably in the US.
In the US, we've got Macy's, big brands.
I didn't even know some of those, by the way. And that is, those are that's impressive. And also in the affiliate industry, like networks, I heard this mentioned, it wasn't on our podcast, someone was talking about this. Brands are, I don't know if this is true or not, but brands may be becoming a bit fickle and moving from network to network sometimes. But to have Argos on for how long was that?
Yeah,
That's
over
staying
20
power.
years.
Why do you think they've stayed so long, and sort of all the other brands that you've got so kind of?
You know what? We've evolved with them as their whole bit. Like they got acquired, by Sainsbury's Group, and so now we work with all of, the groceries and Argos and Habitat and all of the brands. And I think, so we've been working along with them as their whole business has transitioned, and we've evolved how we work with them. So we were, fully managing their program. They had like a small team. And then a few years ago, they, built up their team. They wanted to bring a lot of things in-house. And so we were able to still provide them with the technology, with the publishers, and also with a different level of support with how we work with them now. And so it just works. We know their business inside out. They're very involved, as a lot of our advertisers are, in helping to evolve our platform, our tools as well. So we just have it's a real partnership. And I think that's just fundamental to how we work as a business as well, as much as possible with our brands.
Well, retention's everything, right? But people ask us this, is such a good marker of quality? Because people ask us, that's Jamie and I, as agency founders, when we meet people, sometimes like business people, and they're asking around about the business, poking around, and they'll say like, what's your lifetime value? What's your retention? What's your average? And it's so important because it just speaks to what you're doing and if they want it still. And so long-term retention of companies like Argos and stuff, and that you're just so baked in, is obviously you guys must be doing a lot right.
Yeah, but like, don't get me, like, you still, a lot of companies now that we're seeing, they've got procurement teams, right? And then they're like, okay, we've been working with this partner for X amount of time. Oh, we have to go out to market and see what else is out there. So it's not it's hard.
Sure.
So we had to go through RFPs, and we were very lucky enough to retain the business. But you never take that for granted. You always have to be on top of your game. That's competition, right? Our competitors are obviously constantly trying to win over our clients. Likewise, we are as well. But it's often a way, it's like there are some other brands that are with competitors for a long time, and it's harder as well to potentially win them over. So you got to keep on going as well.
Keep on going, but also keep on doing the simple things right, like getting to know the clients and the brands, and understanding how affiliate fits into their broader marketing mix.
Yeah,
I guess.
And how they're, like, every brand is constantly evolving their business strategy. They change teams, they restructure, they bring in new people. So you're constantly, it sounds cliche, but it's 100% true that you're an extension of their marketing team. Like, for some of our clients, we're so ingrained, we attend their trade calls, right, with all their various trade partners. Also being part of Publicis now as well. We have a lot of shared clients. And so we get the whole view of all of their marketing activity. And then we're able to help influence where affiliate, or what we call performance marketing, really impacts what they're trying to achieve. So knowing each of your brand's business and how they operate, and really getting to understand what their objectives are, you have to do that in order to really make your clients successful, which is what the objective is at the end of the day.
Yeah, well said. And so, going back to my bio, you've been there 20 years. You started as a sales exec.
20 years, you make me seem ancient. You're a legend.
Well, I say legend because, like, well known, very well known in the industry, and well liked is what I mean. The affiliate industry is like big but small enough that some people stand out. And you're definitely one of those people, like, from the research that I've done, and anyone I've mentioned that we're meeting with you, they're like, oh, Linda, she's amazing. Like, but you've obviously been in CJ like for most of your career, and you were started as a sales exec, and then you got 3 boys. And how old's the oldest again?
He is going to be 19 in a week, on the 30th of March.
Right. So
he's in university, so he's flown the nest, which was a big milestone for us.
I'm one of 3 boys. Jamie's one of 4 boys.
Oh, so my God.
We know the chaos and the hell that our mums went through.
I know.
And
I actually love I'm really like 10 years younger than what I look like.
to like to have the rise in the career, and I can say this, I'm only saying this as a man who, you know, I sort of the breadwinner of my house, and my wife's right now a full-time mum with the kids, but you know, who knows what the future holds. But like, it's easy for me to say this. I don't know what the experience is like if I was female, and if I was to keep my career going on the trajectory it's on. You've done that, and you've, you know, over the course of your time at CJ, risen to the very top job in the UK and Ireland. How have you done that with 3 boys?
Oh my God. Well, you know, it hasn't been easy. And there were occasions, you know, over the past years where my husband and I were like, you know, how are we going to make this work? So we were in London. We were 10 years in London, absolutely loved it. And Sam, my firstborn, he was born in London. And so as you said, I was, at the time, we were part of a company called Value Click. And I was the first female to actually be going on maternity leave. So my HR woman was delighted, going, Linda, you're going to be our guinea pig and you need to tell us, you know, what we need to do. But you know, like many other people, we had to find a creche and a nursery nearby, which we did, but expensive. No family over here. They're all back in Ireland. And then when I went back to work after having Sam, I went back 4 days a week. So it, you know, lessened the cost on nursery to some extent. And my company, you know, at the time were great managers, great leader, were flexible with allowing that. But then about 2 years later, I was expecting our second.
Had you come back at this point? Oh, you were back, right?
I was back on maternity leave, and then it was about a year or so. And then I was expecting our second. And it was funny. And that was near the end of our years at London. And we were kind of like, okay, when we moved to London originally, it was like, we'll go for 5 years. And then, of course, it ended up being 10 years. We just loved it. And we were kind of thinking about schools and where do we put them in. And, you know, being Irish, you know, Catholic, it was kind of like, oh, the best schools in London are the Catholic schools. So they were like, okay. So we didn't know what our options were. I'm totally going offside here. But they were like, in order to get into the Catholic schools, you had to go to Mass every Sunday morning. Yes. So we dragged Sam and ourselves. We were like, oh. Anyway, eventually we were like, you know what? Just things fell into place. My husband got a job back in Dublin, and we were like, okay, now we were just ready. And we were like, I don't know how we're going to do it with having 2 boys, you know, no family. And also we were quite conscious of our parents being near their grandchildren as well. So our long-term plan was to school them in Dublin. So we were very lucky things fell into place and we moved. And then I was telling my boss at the time, listen, I was going on maternity leave. And I was saying, look, it's a very high chance that we're going to be moving back to Dublin. And she was like, we're opening up a Dublin office.
Wow.
I was like, no way. So it all fell into place. And it was, even though I was sad leaving London, you know, they've don't have Waitrose in Dublin. I was like, what am I going to do? But we moved back and they opened up a Dublin office there, which is great. And so it kind of worked again. We had to put them into creche. But like it was going into the office 5 days a week, dropping the kids off, trying to get into the office, leaving the office on time to go collect them before the creche would close, before you get the phone call. And very lucky my parents live very close by. But at the same time, I was very conscious, you know, they had retired. I didn't want them to become, you know, having to mind our kids, but they were certainly there when we needed them, like when we traveled and stuff like that, which was part of the job. And I was lucky because the role that I had then, at that stage, it was about 2009, 2010, I was helping more of our international growth. So as you know, we're massive in the US, huge brands that were well known in Europe. And so it was a no-brainer to launch them into different markets around Europe. And so it didn't really matter. I was based in Dublin because I was working with teams all across our different offices across Europe. And so those roles worked very well for me. But yeah, it was hard. You know, you have a sick child, someone has to stay at home. It usually was me. Shane, my husband, works in kind of the aircraft leasing industry. And so he did a lot of travel.
That makes it harder.
Really
so much
hard.
harder.
Yeah.
And this were 2.
That was a 2. And then 2012, that was Max, our middle guy. And then Harry O'Connell arrived. Sometimes we call him the one too many, but we don't tell him that. A handful. And so, I had 3 under 5.
Okay, so you had them in quite quick succession. So I've got 4 and 5 myself, and it's like we're banging them out quick. But
Irish twins, we call that.
Irish twins, We had 2 under 2. And so you weren't in a senior management position at this point, or would you consider it a senior management?
No. So at that stage, I was in London. I was a team lead. I had, grown to become team lead within our account management. We call it client development team. And then when I moved back to Dublin, it was more of a helping. I had some people that were reporting into me, but they were kind of scattered all over different markets. And so, I had a bit of more of a flexible role, but not managing a big team. And then I transitioned more then into commercial. So then I was helping a bit more of an individual contributor role. So helping more of our clients that we were working with in different markets to expand in all of our different markets. So the reverse also, we had a lot of European clients who wanted to get into the US. So working with our US teams there, but sort of more of a new business development role. And then we created a new department. It was called corporate development, which really focused on retention of our key brands. And that was more relationship management with some of our top advertisers. And then, the kids were getting a bit older when I guess, stepped into a leadership role where I became VP of our client development team in London. And, to be honest, when my boss at the time, when the great guy, Jacob, who left, my boss called and he's like, Linda, I want you to take this role. And I'm like, I'm in Dublin, how is this going to work? He goes, it's not a problem. He goes, it's fine. And this was
managed them remotely.
Pre-COVID. So I managed, so I was in Dublin, I managed the team. I'd go to London a lot.
Right.
I had that imposter syndrome, which a lot of females naturally do. But you just get into the role. I had a great support with my manager. And again, I had that support network at home, like my mum and dad and my mother-in-law. My boys are my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. He's since passed, but they were their only grandchildren.
Right.
And my brother and sister live outside of Ireland. My brother's in America and my sister's in Australia. So for my parents, they're my last 2 are the only Irish-born grandchildren.
So they're also your boys must be so spoiled.
They loved it. So, but at the same time, not taking advantage. I was like, go travel, play your golf. But when we needed them,
Who plays golf? They play golf together.
They play golf.
Oh, that's the dream.
Yeah,
so
I
said
know.
this to Carlo, like when I don't play golf very well, but I do like playing golf and I'm out and sometimes I see these couples playing together and I say to Carlo, one day.
I know.
And she's not interested. I'm like, you love a nice walk and it's the most beautiful walk you could get because you've been on golf courses, right? It's like,
I'm a golf widow.
Oh.
My husband's addicted to golf.
So you need to
So
take
I've
it up.
started golf.
You have? Okay.
I did,
How you getting on?
Terrible.
I bet you're still playing better than me.
Oh no, I don't even have a handicap. Like that's where I was at the weekend when in Portugal.
Right. Whereabouts were you in Portugal?
Villamora.
Yes,
okay. You know it?
Yeah.
So it was my first golf. I only started golf for the holidays.
Well, you and your husband, what's his name?
Shane.
You and Shane are like, that's relationship goals for me. And
Carla,
my wife likes to listen to these, even though she doesn't know affiliate marketing. But like, Carla, if you're listening.
Yes, Carla, think of the holidays.
Take up golf.
It's not all golf. So, a lot of gin and tonic.
So you talk about like the practical side of balancing like the work life and, you know, the mother's life and dealing with a growing family. But what about mentally? Like, how were you able to compartmentalize? When you were in work, were you just all in, or you know? When
you go home, did you take it with you? Like, because I find that hard. Like going home, taking it with you, checking emails, checking this sort of stuff. When you've got 3 kids,
or
did it help? Did it help?
It helped.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was quite excited when I got back to work. Like, it's hard. Like, fair play to your wife, Carla. Like, you know, being a full-time mom at home is exhausting.
Yes.
And certainly tests your patience. So it was also nice in that you're using a different part of your brain, like in terms of how you have to think and act and dealing with different scenarios, and just the social element as well. Like, you're seeing your colleagues and having the chit chat.
Not losing your whole identity to the kids.
Yeah. But what was also important, which I think is important generally anyway, with kids or not, just to have that, not full on work, is my mom had always said to me, she goes, have something for yourself, like if it was golf. But I played hockey and I kept playing hockey, and I go training twice a week and play a match on a Saturday. Looking back, I'm just like, I don't know how we even did that. But having that kind of pastime for yourself was also important. It doesn't have to be sport. It can be anything, meeting up with your friends, walking.
Reading,
reading, go having a book club.
I agree.
Or wine club. And just having something that you, especially if you're a full-time mom, that you can have that bit of break and escape.
No, that's really, really good advice. And my wife has recently taken up running again, and we've got a treadmill, and she can run like so consistently.
Yeah.
For me, I've always got a passion of some sort that I'm following. So it's just sort of like right now it's snooker. I've been obsessed with playing snooker.
Nice.
But like without that, I'd go crazy.
Yeah, because and it's very easy to just, like, I do know people and they're all work. And having a conversation with them is all about work, So it's important. You just get burnt out.
You're like us, you probably mix with a lot of high performance people in certain positions, and there's something that everyone follows, is that everyone has, if founders or leaders in businesses, is that if they want to, they could work every hour that God sends, because there's always something waiting for them. And it's, I've been through different versions of that since we started Revwise, like, so probably unhealthy amount.
I don't think it is healthy. Yeah, I think it's quite dangerous for your health and just your mental well-being as well. So
I've gotten a lot more greys in the last few years. But Christmas, I completely unplugged.
Getting older.
That's called aging, Gary.
I'm 36. But like Christmas was a time when I completely unplugged. We've got a team now that's basically management teams really in place and with real control of their department, accountability. And so that's a new thing in the last year for me and Jamie. So when I've pulled away, and next week I'm going away for a week with the family, I intend to maybe not go as far as deleting apps from my phone. I was thinking about this, deleting email, deleting Slack, but nothing's going to break, and it's
exactly.
But in the most sort of like overworking years that I just referred to be honest with you, it was actually necessary to grow the way we were, and we weren't doing it. It was probably going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Because we're past that now. There's no justifying it.
Yeah. When you're running your own business, like at the beginning, it's you kind of need to throw yourself into it. But now look at you now.
How much of a startup, or how small was CJ when you first joined, when it wasn't called CJ? Like
we were Commission Junction.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we abbreviated to CJ, and we like to now, actually, Santi, our CEO, he actually describes it quite well. He goes, we were Commission Junction, and was like, at the time, fine. Now it really doesn't make sense. And he goes, it evolved to what we call commerce journeys, and now it's more connected journeys.
Ooh,
so
secret menu
we
here.
We haven't officially said CJ's connected journeys, but
your brand team's going to love this.
Yeah.
Put it out there.
Look what I've done. But a lot of people know it's a CJ, but some people still call us Commission Junction to some extent. But what was your question?
I was just saying, like, when you first started and you were...
how much of a
small
startup?
was it? Yeah.
So I joined in 2005 in our London office, and it was small. Yeah, we were probably, I'm going to say 20 people maybe. And we hadn't, now we're about 100 or so. And we just opened our French office, or a German office, and then we were opening up our French office. A few years later, we opened Spain, and then we opened in the Nordics as well. So I was part of that whole kind of expansion of starting these new...
It's exciting.
Yeah, it was really exciting. And it was like a startup.
Yeah.
And you have that kind of family connection. It was very social. We were in Putney.
Oh,
yeah, nice
That's
little
a
office.
random place for a...
I know.
startup.
Our CDO at the time lived nearby.
That explains it. That literally explains
that
it.
was also like that sounds
Convenient for one.
Yeah.
That sounds like peak like lunch drinking culture as
lunch
well.
in the pub.
Yeah.
By the river.
Yeah.
By the river.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by the river we had, all our meeting rooms were named after the
Back
pub.
when it was under £5 a pint.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I worked in Hammersmith in like 2007, 2008. And I was thinking back to whenever we saw a £5 pint, we'd be like, oh my God, it's £5 a pint. Like it was like an absolute scandal. And I don't drink anymore, but I'm guessing it's getting up to 10, is it? Like close to...
Oh, yeah. Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, those are really good times when you look back in. I've
really
got my
good
version of that in
times.
London, but
Yeah. And we were, to some extent, we were part of this big US, beast. CJ was massive in the US, number one network, and then expanding into Europe. There was a lot of challenges making sure we had that local expertise, local knowledge, educating our US counterparts in terms of this doesn't work in the UK or France or Germany. And so there was a lot of that localization education, which, oh my God, we've come leaps and bounds now. We're like a very, very smart running machine in terms of that side of things. But, and just how the whole business evolved as well. It was just really interesting being part of it. As I said, we were part of Value Click, which had other businesses, and Price Runner was one of them. Yeah. And so they were obviously a publisher as well. Yeah. So it was really good times. Yeah.
And, you mentioned about evolution there.
Yeah.
You're talking about the company, but the industry's evolved like crazy. And
yeah, I mean, you can't compare it to when 20 years ago. I mean, I started as a business sales exec, and then I moved into account management. Like my background previously was always kind of client services. So I think that's just my natural sort of habitat. And I was an account manager, so managing programs. And you have the types of publishers would be your PPC publishers. You had coupon codes was just coming into its own. Remember Mark Pearson, who was like,
I remember.
Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was like a child.
Who was it?
My voucher codes, or was he a different
Wasn't
one?
it My Voucher
My Voucher
Codes?
Codes,
Yeah, I think so. And his mom, like, it was literally, he created this website, like, the cliche, created a website in his bedroom. And
he ended up selling that.
Yeah. But his mom was his agent, so she went to the office as well, meet with the guys. Yeah. But like, it was just that innovative time, which it still is.
And it was a cool, like, Voucher Codes was kind of like a cool, like, publisher type thing, because it was very new. And
yeah,
the
it was
internet
very
kind of
new.
And it was like, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And so probably quite simple publishing mix then, what you're saying is like...
A lot more simple. I mean, a bit rogue, which I think a bit, just a tad. And that's really where, that's where we had to start to invest in our network quality and have a dedicated team. There was a lot of onus as well on the networks to, help police and monitor and make sure.
How much do you think, like, I've never thought about this before, but obviously the networks are the ones that have been here from day dot and basically built the industry.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's true.
I had not thought about it that way before, but because they obviously operate, especially on, like, in our world of sort of mainly self-service, you think about the networks operating as like background infrastructure, maybe not background, but crucial infrastructure.
Yeah.
But actually, how much do you think of the evolution of the publisher types that then came into affiliates was a sort of necessity the network to sort of keep it growing and diversifying. So you guys doing the recruitment and bringing new publishers in and introduce them to the model. I don't know if that's...
Yeah.
That was
we've a whole team. I still do, dedicated to, identifying new partnership types, bringing new partners into the network, because, you can grow by optimizing the partners that you have, but eventually it'll be stagnant to some extent.
Yeah, you need more supply.
Yeah, you have to. And to be fair, as a brand, you should demand that as well from whatever network you're working with. So introducing different ways of working with partners as well, and then the different partnership types, that helps drive that evolution. When you think of the array of publishers that we have now, like your tech publishers, the whole influencer content, card-linked offers, all things like that, they weren't even part of it.
But this is my thing. Like, now you still have publisher development teams, right, in networks. But I always think of them like, what a tough / easy job. Because they've already you've already got all the publishers. Every major network should have every major publisher, right? And you're literally looking at like the tiny little fringes, like deck chairs on the Titanic. Surely the gaps are tiny, right? So then it's okay. Well, is there purpose to, like you said, go to people and say, hey, this is what affiliate marketing is, and you could be monetizing traffic with this. What's the point? Everyone knows it now. That's such a mainstream thing. They're like, surely no publisher that's viable. Like you're going to actually need to even tell them what it is. They're probably already doing it if they can, right?
Yeah. So to some extent, I also think it's driven by consumer behavior,
right?
And how ultimately it's the publishers are reaching those consumers however they want to transact. And so, those models are kind of driven as well, like mobile, right? When consumers are, the different types of mobile publishers, and again, the influencers is a great example, right? That's where a lot of consumers want that third-party verification, and it's capitalizing on being innovative on, actually, I can see a gap here in the market where I can reach those consumers and make a business out of it. So I think the ones that are a bit more aware and innovative are the ones that are going to win out.
Yeah. So publisher development teams still needed.
100%. Yeah. Like, and also we have strategic partnership team, and and some, they're not like, originally it would have been your traditional advertisers, and like, it's, here's another cashback publisher or whatever. And now it's identifying sort of different
custom
different types, and not necessarily, and working maybe in a different way, like, with those types of publishers. And yes, like the tech guys, where you need to do some kind of integration, that was quite new. And just educating the brands on how to work with them as well, is just all part of that. So, I think you got to be very open-minded and innovative to try and identify those new opportunities.
What's this whole connected commerce thing? And what's the vision for CJ is that a term that CJ's coined?
Yeah, I mean, it's our vision, and our CEO Santi is been great at driving that. I think it comes from our perspective, we see just affiliate as not a channel. A lot of people are like, here's the channel, it's the affiliate channel. And it's just evolved so much that when we talk about the different types of publishers that we have in our network that are working with our brands, they are, touching those consumers at such different, parts of that consumer journey. We see affiliate really amplifying your other marketing efforts. And so, that's why we built our CJ customer journey reporting. We can also look at it by channel, if an advertiser can share their channel data. So we have all that analysis. And connected media is, very much bringing that whole ecosystem together. So not looking at affiliate in its silo, looking at the big holistic marketing activities that a brand is doing and how it all works together, and sort of being able to, look at the data and make those kind of strategic decisions to where affiliate actually fits.
Do you think, you have that understanding internally, and the industry talks about that a lot now as well. Do you think across your client base, do you think that understanding is there with the brands that you work with, or starting to change? Or do you see some of the old understandings still prevalent?
For sure. Like some advertisers aren't necessarily as advanced or able to test just because of how they're structured and how things work. I think we're very fortunate that CJ is part of Publicis Group now. And so those clients that we share with, I think we're probably in a better position because we see the whole range of their marketing activity. And then we're able to work collectively with the teams in being able to manage the affiliate side of things as well.
Without politics, because you've mentioned the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. But also because we're able to, the client knows we're all part of the same company. And so we've access to a lot of data. That's the problem. I think they're working with different agencies and you don't necessarily have the ability to see that data and the activities that they're doing. So it's still quite new. It's still understanding how that will all work practically. But, I think the CJ influence that we're doing and how we combine that holistically with the, we call it the performance marketing activity of a client, and just bringing all those different touch points together. It's
resonating with me because that's definitely what we're selling in more, especially for our TikTok shop service. Now, I know that you guys maybe don't have, you can talk about TikTok shop, but it's not really too like affiliate network related. But we're lucky that we work with mid-sized brands mainly. So not so much massive enterprise companies.
Yeah.
We're not working with like Nikes, but we're working with mainly mid-sized brands, decent size, but still able to probably able to get some of the data that you're talking about that it would be much harder to get if they were enterprise, right? And actually get a holistic picture. So the reason why that we're changing our picture bit is because we're seeing it come through with TikTok shops in such a pure way that is happening on affiliates as well, but it's not as obvious. So I'll give you an example. We were talking to a guy just today for the podcast. They're a health supplement company on TikTok shop, launched it within 3 months. He's doing 200 grand a month of sales. But he's doing about 60, 70 grand of ad spend to support the sales in TikTok shop.
Oh, wow.
He's doing a load of discounting, right? And which is normal in TikTok shop.
Yeah.
And he's doing 20 grand of sampling, reaching out to thousands of creators and getting hundreds on board, and 20,000 of sampling. So sending out samples.
Wow.
So running at a small loss.
Yeah.
Right? 10, 20 grand a month loss, maybe a bit. And yet he is so excited about TikTok shop and it's changed his whole business. And the reason why is because within 30 days, he saw 100%, he saw a doubling of his Amazon sales.
And with a 50%.
50% of his Amazon spend. CPA on Amazon, to the point where he's turned it off. So he's spending on Amazon. So he's turned his spend on Amazon off. He's getting twice the amount of sales. He's taking all of that hundreds and hundreds of high-performing creatives that he's getting from TikTok shop creators and running them as meta campaigns. That's brought his CPA on Meta down, brought his acquisitions up on Meta. So he's able to zoom out being a sort of small business. I mean, he's doing like 8 figures revenue, but he's what we call mid-market or SME. Yeah. He's able to zoom out, look at all the pieces and go, TikTok shop is positive. It's like, that's what you're talking about with connected commerce, isn't it?
Yes. So, and it's also amplifying then. Is it driving
one feeding the other.
Other consumers to like other parts, the Amazon stores?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
he even said that the amount of sales, he's got some data from different platforms, but like the amount of sales that, that are being captured in TikTok Shop, there's also a lot being driven into Amazon. People that are just like closing TikTok and not buying on TikTok for whatever reason, opening up Amazon. Unfortunately, a lot of us go to Amazon, and obviously there's a cost. He doesn't own the customer.
But it's,
he's getting the revenue.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a customer.
It's a customer,
right?
yeah. Like, and I buy through Amazon. I buy a lot through Amazon, and I won't want to go and deal with someone's website if I don't need to.
Yeah.
Subscribe and save as well, that sort of stuff. So I think a lot of companies now are just accepting that Amazon is just sort of like a extension. But yeah, that's a great example. When you were talking there, it made me think of the TikTok example. So now when we go to brands and our sales team is selling in our TikTok service, we are, when we look at their margins and the rest of their channels, we're telling them straight, and we'll probably win less clients per month, but they'll be the right clients with the right expectations.
Yeah.
They'll have the ad budget. They won't be expecting a straight ROAS of X, Y, Z from TikTok sales alone.
Yeah.
But they'll be prepared to share the data and measure success on a holistic basis with that halo effect. So that's been for us, it's been a big leap. And we know that exists in all channels, and also on affiliate especially. Affiliate gets punished for the way the tracking works. But with TikTok Shop, it's like really obvious because there's no TikTok Shop. Then you launch TikTok Shop, and then you see this massive surge if you do it right into all other areas. With affiliates, it's probably already running for many years. Then if you get a new agency in, or you sort of like jazz up your strategy or do something better, it's like, how can you see the true impact of that? You hear all the time brands turning off. Someone said earlier that in the podcast, I think it was Jack from Savendus, they said Gymshark turned off their affiliate program or something because they had a CMO that didn't really like the channel, and then they didn't think it was incremental, and then they lost like 80% of the sales. So that's a hard thing for them to do because if they had never ran affiliates, then they could launch it and measure that halo effect like really purely. Yeah. How'd you do it? Like, I don't want to get too technical, but connected commerce. Like, how do you guys go about doing that?
So that's the thing. It's being able to ensure it can be measured and that you have that set up with the client as well. But really interesting to hear that story you said as well. Because we've a partnership with TikTok, and we were the first network to be able, because everything would happen in the TikTok ecosystem, whereas we were able to enable our publishers to drive sales to the TikTok shop for a brand outside of the...
That must be quite recent then.
Yeah. It was a couple of months ago, predominantly in the US, but they're rolling out across other markets. So that's been quite a good game changer. And then we also launched our Amazon marketplaces. So like you said, you gotta, for a brand, you have to understand where a consumer wants to shop, because some people want to shop on Amazon, and even though the brand may not like that, it's still sales. And so just having that awareness of where the consumer is going to be, I mean, that's the first step, and not trying to pigeonhole them into, I want them to just drive. Like, a lot of brands just want to drive them direct to their website, and unfortunately, that's not what the consumer wants.
Or if it is going to Amazon, it's get the credit or the budget, then the ROAS calculations going to the Amazon team. And
that's also that can be a bit of a blocker. Like, even on the influencer side, you'll often have a separate influencer team to the affiliate team. We had a situation with a client where we were talking to them about some of our influencers and as on the affiliate team. And then they ended up finding out that their influencer team was working with that same influencers on a totally different commercial model. Whereas because of CJ, we can track all the way to transaction. We have that technology. They could work on a CPA, bit of a hybrid, whereas they were spending, quite a lot, but not wanting to take that away from the affiliate. It was just being able to, they still worked with that influencer in that way, but on different metrics. And so we were able to tally up their metrics with our conversion metrics and the touch points along the way, to help them work together on what the best strategy will be in working with that particular influencer. So,
I mean, you can articulate that very well. How do you get your team sort of spreading that message to their clients as well, from the sales team to the delivery team? Because that must be quite a job to get people explaining it in the right way, because things can be lost, and not everybody's up to date with the latest info. And,
we've a whole team whose job is is that. So
what's the team called?
Go-to-market team.
Cool.
Like
I'm just interested in how you call it.
Our go-to-market. It's like our go-to-market strategy. But our marketing team will be heavily involved. And then one of the things, certainly, I honestly think being part of Publicis, we've really invested in our learning and development. And so we have blocked times for everyone, no matter what your level is, in your diaries kind of every week. And we use that, it's not necessarily needed every week, but we use that as an opportunity to go, okay, we've got this is, our new product or a new solution, or this is how we're positioning things. And, they're trained on kind of the concept and how it works. They're given materials. Then we will have like office hours because you're not necessarily, if it's quite complex like that, you're not going to get it in one, here's 1 hour of training. So it is gradual. And it is important though that the teams are saying the same message. And added to that complexity is the different local market nuances. So, we mightn't have TikTok in some of the other markets. And then so it's managing how we roll things out and have that local market awareness and nuances. So we have to have that flexibility to say, this isn't going to work in this market, or we need to do something different. So, that's a huge part as well, that you need to have that kind of local expertise and awareness on it.
But you said the headcount in the UK, you said it earlier, and it was like 100 or something.
Yeah.
What's the total CJ? I could look up on LinkedIn.
No. We're probably about 1,000.
Right.
Growing. Big company, yeah, growing. And then though, we also have additional resources within Publicis as well that we can leverage. So yeah, we're quite lean compared to, I think, considering other competitors have got a much higher headcount.
Yeah, that's that's about 1,000, including US, which is a bit like the beast of the business, right?
Yeah,
and then if you think about AWINS, I think it was 1,400.
Yeah,
and that's for like mainly UK and Europe, isn't it?
Mainly, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Each of the regions that you work in, obviously, all at different maturity levels as well. So, like, where do you see the biggest growth opportunities? Right.
So we're solid in the US, Europe. We've been there for years. We also Eastern Europe. We partnered with a company called Viv Networks, and we acquired them a few years ago. And they're number 1 in all of Eastern Europe. So very kind of mature and set up there. I would imagine for us, APAC was also, it's a big growth market for us. Over there, we've partnered with a company called Tyru. We tend to do that. It's quite costly to like put people on the ground, set up an office.
When you say partner, do you mean you bought them all?
No. We have a strategic partnership kind of agreement where they're kind of the extension of CJ,
right?
Exclusively, and that helps us get a feel for the market opportunity and, where we then take our strategy.
That's smart, yeah. It's quick as well, plug and play.
Yeah, kind of plug and play. And then, but to answer your question, LATAM is very significant.
Yeah.
Brazil, huge growth market there. We're very fortunate in that we are all in Publicis offices. So we've got Publicis teams on the ground there. And so at the moment, it's quite, not necessarily easy, but it's a bit of a foot in the market that we can just set people up there.
You mentioned Eastern Europe. I saw on Slack, one of our teams shared today, I don't know if it's old news or not, but maybe it's new. Google Shopping is coming to many parts of Europe now, including Eastern Europe. That's very
huge,
interesting.
Really big, yeah.
Big news, that.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's still a level of maturity in that market as well. There's certain markets that are obviously bigger than others, like Czech Republic, Poland, and all that. But yeah, that's I could say a game changer.
Kickstart their affiliate industry. Really.
Yeah,
there's not that much going on out there.
Yeah.
There's only a few dominant brands out there right now.
A lot of local brands.
Yeah.
Because
we've got few dozen staff in Bulgaria in office with him.
Yes.
And Jamie lives in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And go on to like Google and you have to use a VPN, otherwise you don't see anything. But like to open up Google and see local Google shopping ads going to be interesting.
True. I can tell you right now, the types of brands that are going to be dominating in the beginning, but I could give it 12 months and you'll start to see smaller brands starting to try to compete. And obviously if the economic climate allows, then you will start to see businesses start to develop in those marketing areas.
Could be a real shot of adrenaline for the affiliate and marketing industry in those countries as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the guys, they've made great ground there already. But yeah, there's definitely a lot more opportunity for growth.
And then you said it's 1,000. So how many people do you reckon you know? And how connected
Oh my gosh, I know. And we're quite tenured. Like there's people who've been there longer than I have. And I'm obviously 20 years. But I mean, I've worked with a lot of the people in all the different teams. They're great. I mean, my team obviously are fantastic. So yeah, I don't know all of them. And obviously we're growing, so we hire new people. I know obviously everyone in the UK and a lot of our European markets. So in the US, so it's huge. But I know, good.
How do you get, how can you even get a company of that size together? And if you how together can you get, how many people actually get to mix every year, do you think?
Well, CJU obviously is a great opportunity.
So CJU, for those who don't know, which
sorry,
I know. I say everyone in the affiliate knows CJU apart from me and Jamie apparently. We was at an event. It was Awen's think tank in Portugal, and everyone was talking about it. I said, "This event's great.
Oh, nice, perfect event to be talking about CJU."
I was like, this event is amazing. I was so impressed by it. And then a couple of times, someone said, "Oh, have you been to CJU? It's kind of like this." And I was like, never even heard of it, but it's also very, very well, it's like a legendary event, very well.
Yeah.
And I've looked into it since, and I've obviously since then been, it's like when you know about something, you see it all the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's your annual, we're thinking about it.
Yeah, it's our flagship sort of big event, and it's based in the beautiful Santa Barbara in California, which is where CJ was born. We still have our offices there, and it's a great location, but it's also really focused on, a great balance of learning, providing so it's a mixture of all of our publisher partners, our advertiser brands, our agencies, strategic partners.
Loads of staff, I'm guessing, as well.
A lot of staff. But we have to limit this. It's like the golden ticket.
Oh, really? How many?
Not everyone can go.
Have you got 1,000 staff? How many do you reckon can go to that?
Oh, gosh. I mean, from Europe, we probably send about only 20.
Well, that is a golden ticket.
Yeah, but in the US, there's a good chunk. All our executive team will be there. So not only is it a great opportunity, to learn about, we have got great content. So it's a balance of sessions on all different topics, really with the objective of growth and how all of our clients, which are everyone there, can get takeaway, actionable insights as well to help. And then it's networking.
Yeah.
By the beach.
Yeah, nice.
We need to go. We might have to go this year. When is it?
Yeah.
September.
There's time to save.
Yeah.
We literally planned out all of our international trips for myself, for the sales team, for delivery team. Like, we're way more organized this year than ever before. Because last year we were a startup and we just were learning all these things the hard way, but we were basically just spending with impunity. And we realized, we were sat with the CFO and we're like, hey, we haven't made as much money in this last quarter that we thought. They were like, we spent 30 grand on an event. It's like, well, this year, we're going into this year, we basically said, these are the 4 or 5 major events that we may go to. So we put it in our budget. Jamie and I have got a kind of budget for that.
Yeah.
But we're doing Chicago. We're not going, but we're sending a couple of teams to Chicago next month for an AWIN thing.
Yeah.
But I would love to go to CJU. It's in September, you said?
It's in September. I'll send you the dates. Yeah. I'll let you know. And
it sounds
it's well worth it, because as well as of all the, sessions, we got keynote speaker in, loads of networking. It's all about relationship building. But all of our executive team is there. Our CEO is there. I mean, he spends the majority of the time meeting with our clients, our publishers, agencies. He also plays the guitar in a band.
I was going to ask you about this. Will he actually play it? Does he play that?
He played last year. Yeah. Yeah. He played because we have music. There's a nice like cocktail hour on the beach, and he played. Yeah, he got it with his guitar. He plays in a band. He plays in a Grateful Dead tribute band.
Oh, fantastic!
Oh my God, he's unbelievable. Like he travels everywhere. He's been in London a load already, and then is all over the world. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get home. Then I've got a gig. Then he plays tennis. Then I've got a tennis match."
This guy, I want to meet this guy.
Honestly, I don't know where he gets his energy from.
We saw him on stage, didn't we, in Vegas? So Jamie and I were in what's it called? ASW.
Oh, ASW. Yeah.
Went to ASW.
He was on a panel.
Yes, with Aywin, and I thought he was really like cool. Maybe it's the accent. Cool California guy.
He was very laid back.
I was like,
this guy. All Californians are laid back.
I was like, this guy's cool.
Yeah, he is. So he'd love to meet with you guys as well. You know, he's very chilled, doesn't take himself seriously, but super client focused, and you know what he's brought to CJ. He's been here 2 years. He started in 2024. And
the first thing he did was get the guitar out.
Get the guitar out. Start showing us all his band gigs. He really drove home this growth mindset. And that just resonates with everything we do. You know, it's like we need to be agile and we need to evolve and innovate. He's actually got a tech background, an engineering background, I'm pretty sure, which is really helpful, you know, which is really, really great. And he's got a great tenure of working across different companies. He's bought and sold a gazillion companies, understands how they work, how they need to operate, and what's successful.
That's the vibe I got when I was on stage. I was like, this guy's a killer. And that's the word we use internally, not literally, but a killer is somebody. Killer is somebody who's, we use it in RevWise with something we're bringing in. And it's like, somebody's just got that, you know, that X factor, that grit.
Yeah.
We've got a client, is Sykes Cottages, and the chief operation officer there is a great guy. We had him on the pod a few weeks ago. And he uses the term street fighter. Like, that guy's a real street fighter, you know? So I'm not surprised to hear that Santi is like entrepreneur, and he's building some companies, because that's the vibe I got watching him on stage. Like,
and has so much energy. Like, honestly, and he will be like, oh, I need to be here. Like, he shared his itinerary for the upcoming month, and it's just like, oh my God. He's coming over to Europe. He's at OMR as well. I think he's on a panel with Adam Ross as well from Aywin.
In Hamburg, is it?
Yeah. You guys going to that game?
We only found out about it today. We're not really up on the events thing.
I'll give you a list.
Yeah, we need to know.
That's huge. You know what OMR stands for?
It was said to me earlier. I've forgotten it. What was it?
Online Marketing Rockstar.
It sounds so cool. I mean, I'm not sure if we could pull it off, but we're learning about all these events. We've just had our heads down, like cracking on building a business, which is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But now that it's at the scale it's at, and we've got a competent management team, we can now start going to these things, and we have been. So I want to hear what ones you think are a waste of time, which ones you think are. They have to say now on the pod, because you might upset people. But don't go to this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't go here. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously more focused within UK, Ireland, and you know, PI Live is obviously the big one.
Yeah,
Matt Wood and his team are great at Hello Partner. And then Affiliate Fest, you know, Hannah Warrior and James Little have done a fantastic job. It was Affiliate Huddle, which James had started. Hannah joined, and now it was Affiliate Fest last year.
Affiliate Fest is a better name.
Yeah. And they're really working on the festival vibe.
Oh, they pulled it off. I was there.
You were at Margate?
Yeah. I was so impressed. I was like,
really cool.
This is the coolest event I've been to in the industry, in the UK. Definitely.
Yeah.
It so helps that they got that Dreamland location.
Oh, yeah. And then they could do all the rides and everything.
You've got to keep it there now every year.
Yeah.
We've got, that's the one that our team are most excited to, like our account directors and sales team are like most excited to go to, and everyone's fighting for their golden tickets.
Yeah. And they've made it 2 days. It's 2 days.
Oh, it's 2 days now. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. I know.
and then of course they set up women in Affiliate Fest.
They did. Hannah and Isabel and her team, they set up women in affiliate, which hadn't been done before. We were all like, why hasn't this been done before? So yeah,
you won.
Tell us which.
You won the inaugural top
woman of the year.
There you go.
Woman, which I continually remind my family.
You've peaked.
To call me that. I'm woman of the year. So I know, which a huge honor. And honestly, a surprise. It's funny. I told this story at I was presented with a gorgeous award, which Hannah and the team put a lot of thought into. And, I was telling the story that Hannah was on email and she's like, "Oh, Linda, great news. You're affiliate woman of the year." And I thought I was a woman, part of the top fantastic women that were all, nominated. And it was only when we were going on emails, our marketing team were like, "This is great. We'll help, spread the word on social media and LinkedIn." And they're like, "Give us any material you want us to use." And Hannah was like, "Oh yeah, well, it's embargoed. So we're going to do a drip campaign. So the first top 10 women are going to be announced." And,
our marketing manager, Jazz, shout out to Jasmine Oval, was in that lot.
Jasmine, yes, she was at the lunch. Yeah, so they're all amazing. And then the next batch, and then she said, "We're going to leave Linda till the end." I was like, "What is she talking about?" And I'm pinging my marketing manager, and I'm like, what does she mean? I'm at the end. And then I was telling Hannah this, so I had to go back on email going, "So, why am I at the end? Is there anything I need, And I actually thought it was because of my maturity. Of because I could also win the oldest woman of the year, oldest woman in affiliate. But no, we were laughing. And so Hannah was like, "No, Linda, you got most votes from the judge." I didn't even know that it was a judge, a judge thing. I was like, "Oh my God."
So now you're going to try and be like Meryl Streep and just clean up over the coming years.
Yes, I'll be,
the one to beat, the one to take down.
Well, it's quite a lot of pressure. And as someone dropped me a message to congratulate me, they were like, "God, woman of the year of 2026, that was in January." And they're like, "You've had some year, So I was like, "Oh my God, it's going to be a long year." But
yeah, well done. And it's from everything we've heard and seen, it's like really well deserved. And you definitely lift women up. And, you've been a great leader at CJ. And I've learned that since researching you for the pod. But even just like anecdotally, the reason we're even sitting here is because Jazz, our marketing manager, who's fantastic, and she was in the Women in Affiliates, sort of like acknowledged as a woman in affiliate that year. She was inspired by your speech and was really impressed. And, you made a mark on her and lots of other women there. So, I think it probably went to the right person.
Oh, well, no, honestly, it's such a privilege. But as I said, I posted about it. There's also big responsibility, I feel, as well. And doing something with it. Hannah's created, we've got this WhatsApp group, Women in Affiliate, and it's really understanding, what can we, she's great at Affiliate Fest, she wants to have these kind of women-focused conversations because it is hard, we're talking about. Unfortunately, it's still probably the case. There's a very low percentage of women that are in C-suite roles, and a lot have to sacrifice their career to take care of the children if you start to have a family. And, having a sort of support network or mentor kind of program for females starting off, whatever stage they're at, is really important.
It was well thought out. It was brilliant. It was touching every layer in the industry and businesses.
Yeah.
So Jazz, who's by no means, junior, she's our marketing manager. She's been in marketing for a few years, but, she still has a different experience to another person who's been there. And there was different people from different kind of cohorts. And so it's been well thought out, and it's kind of sounds like it's working really well as well.
And it's just it's getting that recognition. And it's also, if I looked back years ago, women have a natural imposter syndrome. Right. Most women. And they think, "Oh, I'm not going to be able for this job." Or, it's that cliche of you look at a job spec and a male will probably if they can't do, 5 of the things listed, they'd be like, "Yeah, I can do that job." Whereas a female will be like, "Oh my God, I can't do 2 of those. I'm not able for the job." Whereas kind of you can. And you need that, reassurance and that confidence sometimes you just need a little you can do it.
And it's exposure to other people. My version of this is nothing to do with, to gender, but when I was early in my career, I had exposure to people that were doing amazing things.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky to like work alongside them and think, well, if he can do it, like
Yeah.
I can do it one day as well.
Yeah.
And so I was like kind of inspired by seeing what was possible from people, whether it's like, what they're achieving, their job status, the level they've gotten to of ability or money by a certain age. I was like in my early 20s thinking, okay, that could be me.
Yeah.
And so the version of that is obviously getting a lot of women together with the women affiliates of all levels in a business is inspiring everyone up and down.
100%. And it's also, creating that ambition as well, going, it is possible. But also recognizing that, there are going to be parts of my journey in my career was hard. And I wasn't at a leadership role, but I had a great role that worked for me at that time. And it's, giving yourself time. I think a lot of, women sort of feel like, I have to climb up that ladder really, really quickly. And it's just like, you have time, like get the experience, surround yourself with females that are, knowledgeable and can help give you that direction, and you can learn from them. And also recognize that where it's not, I'm not saying every single woman is doing the right job, and learning kind of what works, and having that drive that it is possible, but like, don't put yourself under pressure to think you have to do it in 2 years.
Great advice. Yeah, that's great advice. We'll clip that. So well, I'm going to change topic slightly, which is the influencer evolution. You were talking earlier about influencers, and I wanted to sort of like butt in and say to you, does influencer belong squarely in affiliate? Yes or no? I think yes, by the way. We're biased.
I would say yes, that it has evolved to, it's a no-brainer. It has to be, because I think originally it had very soft metrics of how many likes,
above the line. Kind of
and how many shares, and it wasn't measurable. Whereas affiliate, you can, you are able to measure it all the way to conversion, but still have those kind of softer metrics as well. So but it also comes back to, I kind of feel almost, and maybe this is out there, like affiliate, we need to have a different word for it. I don't know what that would be. Right? Like it's more, I don't know, is it performance marketing?
Why though? Because there's so many borderline affiliate things. So like influencers are obviously more than sort of just straight sale driving. So is it because of that? That it doesn't...
Would an influencer call themselves an affiliate? They call them, they will say they're a creator, right? Or an influencer. Or,
I think, even the way that like recently, because affiliates been in the news because of ChatGPT a lot and AI.
Yeah.
I feel like, they've talked about affiliate in terms of, they just see it as affiliate links.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the wider understanding in my mind anyway.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what you're speaking to. It's like,
and
now if we consider, influencer is affiliate and all of these other things
banking
are affiliate, then it just continues that narrative to the wider, marketing world or wider world in general. So I get what you're saying.
I think though there's also, like, we do have a reputation. Like if you say, you were talking about was a Gymshark, and they had the CMO was like, I don't like affiliate. She doesn't understand affiliate.
Apparently.
I would imagine, right? Because you hear something, they're cowboys, or, you can't control it, or it's rogue, and it's inaccurate, right? Of course, there's fraud and there's some activity, but what channel doesn't have that same situation, right? And I do think that's a reputational, which is actually something, I know we were talking briefly when we spoke before about the APMA, and that's like the Affiliate Marketing Partner Association. And they're very focused on trying to work around how we can change that reputation. I'm part of that stakeholder group. So it was really, we had a first kind of gathering, great collection of industry, legends and veterans all sharing their input. And it's, I think that's a bit of a hindrance for us, is that kind of reputational. And you kind of have to ask, God, we've been doing it so long. Why does it still have that reputational?
My view on this is that the reputational thing, like rather than trying to rebrand, maybe this is naive. We've only been going for 3 years as an agency, but rather than trying to rebrand, which everyone's calling for, why don't you just dilute the bad parts of affiliates, which is happening anyway, right? So you're diluting it because it's exploding in terms of quality pub types, right? You mentioned loads of them on this meeting, but like, whether it's gift for purchase, brand partnerships, obviously like just more and more smart loyalty and better niche closed user groups. You've got banking, you've got influencer, you've got bloggers, and commerce content just continues to go to strength for strength. So on my list I talked to you about like publishers, the future is e-commerce for publishers, right? Like all this stuff. Then you got TikTok. Like it's so like to us, it's so obvious that affiliate is something that every single brand, I think to every brand as well. Like we're on the front end talking to obviously mid-market, and in our experience anyway, maybe they just don't get in touch with our team, but like they all know that affiliate is a huge opportunity that they need to be leveraging properly. And that's how we end up winning them as a client, because their existing incumbent, whether it's an agency or an in-house team that's not specialist, isn't able to do the impossible or do the legwork, do the reps, and be really smart with how they target to get all that stuff on. And thankfully it's a manual channel, so we all have a job, and it's strategic, right? But so we're not sort of hearing these complaints from, even when we're like, we're not experiencing this problem. So in our opinion, it's just like, just give it time, and it will, any of those bad things that were in there will just be diluted, instead of kind of keep bringing them up, and then they say that it becomes what the reality you say it is.
Well, I think that we're our own worst enemy in some situations where we almost amplify some of those bigger negative stories, whereas you don't hear it from other kind of media channels.
Because they're constantly moving forward. They're constantly, which affiliate is, but then people are stuck on the old stuff.
The old stuff. But hopefully that will come true.
Yes, dilute it.
Dilute
which
it.
is happening anyway. So just let it be like, just let it.
We like to call it like, it's, I don't know, we see it as more, it's like performance marketing, right? Because it's not just your last click, right? Attribution. You got to look at all upper funnel.
The connected commerce is your phrase.
So, it'll be interesting to see, I think, how that evolves. And I think it'll just, like you say, I think that dilution is just going to get even more, like with AI as well. We're already seeing that.
Driving that dilution is literally our entire purpose, and that's the reason why RevWise has grown, not to plug RevWise, but grown.
Go RevWise!
Go RevWise. Well, we've become one of the biggest agencies, like undeniably, in the UK. In 3 years. And that's because we entered the market at the exact time when all that opportunity was there for brands, but many of them weren't resourced to get it. So we've been able to come in, sort of work out how to get it, build it, and then so our view of this is much more optimistic, I think, than what is out there on LinkedIn every day. It's really, really optimistic.
Exactly, I think it has to be.
I think again we were speaking with Jack from Savendus earlier, and he's working with Hannah on the great affiliate debate.
In Manchester.
Right. And I really love the fact that more of these events are popping up, these micro events, not just your big events that we're aware of, because it allows different people to have a voice. As well, because we are quite used to hearing the same. Not to say that they're saying the wrong things, but we're quite used to hearing the same people say similar things. And speaking with Jack, speaking with other people, like they have their different takes, their different hot takes, because they're seeing the industry from a different perspective, and they've either been brand side, or been publisher side, or been network side, or been all three. And it's just really refreshing. And I'm just really happy that these events are starting to happen, and people feel emboldened to do them more, and they're taking ownership. And because they're seeing results from that as well, and traction. And so hopefully that only just sort of snowballs over the coming years.
Exactly. And I think going back to Philly Fest, I know James Little prefers to have those panels where it is a discussion as opposed to, you can get your presentations. And I think that's important, that you get, a different perspective across whether you're publisher side, advertiser side, agency side, network side, is really important in trying to bring some of those topics. And I think we're becoming a bit more, a bit more open, a bit more transparent. I think we were all a bit, oh, I'm not going to say this, or we can talk about that. Whereas, Santi going on a panel with Adam Ross is great. And they had a really good conversation. And, it's not, oh, we're all competition. Ultimately, but ultimately we want to do what's right for the industry. And yes, networks have a huge part to play in that. And so rather than batting against each other, we're not going to, obviously, we've got different approaches, different strategies, but I think ultimately we all want to do what's best for the industry.
You're still at war on the sales field.
Yeah.
Make no doubt about it.
Yeah, but, we're way better. But I think we've come a long way in that as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
One more technical topic, and then we'll get on to the quickfire questions. And that is, we spoke about the explosion of publisher types, how sort of sexy and how much opportunity is in the affiliate channel now. And a big part of that's commerce content. I'm writing a blog at the moment. You don't know about this, do you? I was doing some research for the blog to just like fact check my narrative that I always say. It's like, is this even true?
Yeah.
And the timeline I've got in my head is that wasn't really, there was always obviously content publishers, but the real explosion starts to happen sort of like through late 2010s, and I checked it out, and that's true. And I always put it down to instant articles. So publishers used to get their traffic from Facebook, like really good free traffic. That's where BuzzFeed and LabBuy and all these kind of came from, purely running on Facebook traffic. And then Facebook sort of like just pulled the rug overnight in the late 2010s. So they had instant articles, which was their way of keeping traffic on Facebook. And then at the same time, loads of other stuff happened. CPMs were getting crushed on display. And publishers had a really tough time in the late 2010s after having a great time earlier in the 2010s.
Yeah.
Then you start to see this the massive rise of commerce content, and affiliate linking. And there's a Wirecutter publisher as a kind of the model for this.
Yeah.
Now you look fast forward, so they were already staffing up and skilling up, and then you've got the pandemic hitting. E-com revenue goes through the roof. These publishers are like, let's go. So now they're like, and then fast forward to today, it's like making up 50% of many publishers' revenue. Yeah. Which is crazy when you think about the size and scale of like display and everything where it was and all of that advertising. So it's here to stay. It's baked into publishers. They're finding a way to do it without many of them jeopardizing editorial integrity, right? They've siloed it
which is important.
Which is really important. And that's kind of, like I said, coincides with brands, especially in the mid-market, going, hey, hold on a minute, why are we not in here? Why are we not getting featured? Why not? And then demand for agencies and networks and stuff obviously going up. And that's my narrative, and I fact check it, the timeline of the adoption of content as a major affiliate publisher.
Yeah.
And it turns out that's roughly true.
Yeah.
Where do you think it's going from here? Do you think it's going to carry on? I know that Bauer, Future, Hearst, Condé, they've all got huge affiliate investments, huge teams, e-commerce teams, affiliate teams.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think content publishers are coming into their own rightfully so. I think it was a challenge, especially within affiliate, that they were kind of upper funnel, weren't getting rewarded because of that last click. Obviously, we've evolved in terms of how we can work with those content publishers, and some of them do drive, that last click. And I do think, going back to the consumer, I think the consumer is looking for that third-party verification as opposed to going through direct to the brand. And so they're reading these articles, they're also being educated, so they might read that content, maybe they'll go to an influencer and get more verification. But I do think where content commerce is going to take off is obviously from the AI now and the LLM listings, where their citations, what the research that we've done, and we're already working with our advertisers. We rolled out our solution in terms of our AI optimization and visualization as well, visibility, is what we've seen is 60 to 90% of the listings when you do certain of those LLM searches are content publishers that are already on our brand's affiliate programs. And it's those brands are like, hey, how can I, be listed and make sure I get those citations? And I think those content publishers, it's almost they call it now GEO, right? How you get those citations and get listed is going to really transform how they operate. And we're already, testing, working with our brands with those content publishers to get those LLM citations listings as well.
And what is the demand from your enterprise clients for finding out that information?
They are. I think every client is obviously all about AI, and it's how consumers now are searching. It's within those LLMs. I mean, you see it on Google, right? You do a search and it's got to be, the Gemini listings. And so anything, any education about it, they want to know about it. We've already, we've got tools that we're able to help analyze where their listings are, and then cross-reference against the publishers that we're working with, and then how we work with those publishers and optimize their citations. So we've completely sort of evolved. It's like another stream of how we're managing their programs and how we're working with those affiliates, and because they're seeing their traffic drop.
Yeah,
right?
And I think there will be a kind of like a bit of a scrappy period where there's a bit of that. I'm already hearing it. It's very unfair that citations are driving untrackable sales.
Yeah, the whole clickless.
Even as you were talking there, I was thinking, yeah, that's happening. But what does history tell us? It tells us that free market will sort that out, and there'll be new models that publishers demand. There'll be new ways to pay for that value.
Yeah,
that will emerge in the coming months or years, I think, because people will still want it. So supply and demand. There'll be publishers will roll out products for that.
Yeah, and honestly, I think we've seen they haven't figured out that the LLMs like ChatGPT, they haven't figured out how they're going to monetize.
No,
and they're going to need to.
GPT just pulled back, saying they're not doing the Shopify CPA stuff.
Yeah, which is interesting because they're going to need. It's such, Sam Altman had said originally the affiliate model is a no-brainer of how we should work this. So it's interesting, how they are going to monetize it. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of activity. I think that's where those content publishers are going to have a lot more clout, a lot more power in working with the brands. And we're seeing it already. And brands are finding the budgets to be able to work with them to ensure that they're getting those citations and they're getting listed.
Great.
Which is, it's exciting.
Good. Positive, optimistic, I like it.
Positive, optimistic, more evolution.
More evolution, yeah. We'll do quick fire and we're going to throw a load of questions at you. If you can just answer, don't worry about short answers.
I'm not taking any of my milkshake yet.
Go
on.
Go
okay,
for
I'm
it.
ready.
We'll ask you questions. It's called quick fire and sometimes we end up making it slow fire. So we end up going into massive topics. But we must remember, Jamie, it's a quick fire round. So we'll ask you a question, you'll answer it, then we'll give you the next question.
Are you ready?
One each, yeah?
I'll go first. Okay. What would your 12-year-old self say about who you have become today?
Oh my gosh, 12. What was I like when I was 12? I would, I'd be shocked, actually, I'd be shocked that I'm a mother because the thoughts of childbirth was terrifying back there when I was 12. And a mom of 3.
And boys.
And boys. Yeah. I would say, I would hope my 12-year-old self will be proud of, how far I've come back. I mean, as a young girl, I'm actually more of an introvert.
Really?
You wouldn't believe it.
I don't see that.
No, I know. I talk too much. But I was quite shy. I wouldn't really speak up. The thoughts of any public speaking. And so to see myself now, I mean, this is doing a podcast, my first one in a proper professional studio. So I would hope she'd be proud.
Proud, I'm sure she would.
Yeah.
When was the last time you felt completely out of your depth?
Oh, I would probably now doing this podcast. You know what, going back though to that imposter syndrome. So I said before, my previous roles, I was kind of like an individual contributor. I had maybe one or a few people reporting into me. And then I got, my boss was like, Linda, I want you to be VP of client development and you've got this big team now. That was my initial reaction, is like, I'm out of my depth. I can't, I don't know how I'm going to manage this. And then you do. And then I became SVP. So I take a lot of learnings from that, you got to get rid of the negative mindset that you automatically go into protection mode. And so it's like, oh my God, I can't do that. And yes, I can. And yes, you can, whoever else is listening.
Nice.
Awesome. If you had to delete every app on your phone except 3, which apps would you keep?
3. Which apps do I use the most? Probably Uber. No, I would keep, WhatsApp is a regular one, right? My kids are constantly bombarding me with like, Mom, can you send me money? WhatsApp, Instagram.
Okay.
I'm more of an Instagram than TikTok. And that also helps me keep up with what's going on.
Yeah.
Because you are going to hear it first on Instagram.
However you want to justify it, Linda.
Thank you. I try not to doom scroll because I'm always on my kids to get off their phones.
Are they on TikTok?
They will be TikTok.
Of course they are,
yeah. And my youngest is 13 now, and he actually got his phone quite recently. And, there's a great app called Custodio, which you have to put on their phone, and you can limit how much time they're on, but you can also limit how much time they have on TikTok. So I do that. And he's actually quite good.
How long does he get?
Oh gosh, it depends. During the week, not a lot. They're not allowed their phones during school, which is great. So I might give him like an hour on TikTok. A weekend is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But they're all on Snapchat.
An hour on social media goes quick.
Oh, it does. But that's the problem. It's like a whole hour out of your day. And then my third app would probably be Fitbit. Trying to, kick my ass and say, right, get out and exercise.
Fitbit, Instagram, and WhatsApp. That is cool. Finish this sentence. Leadership is...
Many things. Leadership for me is, I'd say leading with empathy and care, and kindness, and not like with an ego or authority. And I think it's also, knowing that, my team are very well, I don't have all the answers. And so being very authentic, and I often go to them going, what's going on? What's happening here? But also knowing that they can be the same. And that, that kind of psychological safety as well, so that it's okay if you don't know the answer, but I'm going to show up and I'm going to learn. I'm going to educate myself as best I can, and I'm going to lead to the best of my ability. So, being a bit vulnerable as well, but being kind. There's a great book on that.
Right on.
What book is that?
Do you know Graham Olcott? He wrote a book on Productivity Ninja, but he also wrote a book on the quiet power of kindness at work. And it's sort of based on the principles that kindness is actually a business strategy and it's not all fluff. Kindness is not being nice. So nice is, you want everyone to like you, you want to please, but kindness is, having those difficult conversations to enable telling someone the truth, right? So they can grow and develop. But it's also, you have understanding and flexibility. Like, yes, you've got a job to do, but people have lives and they've got personal stuff going on, and having that awareness and understanding and flexibility. And I think it naturally helps build a culture. I don't think you can force a culture. And it has 8 different principles on that, but it cool. proves, on you build really strong teams, as well.
Can I check it out?
That was one of your questions he was about to ask. And then
sorry.
No, it was good because it rolled straight in. You said that's from a book and he went, which book? And that was his question.
Was that going to be a question?
I wish I knew about because that makes sense. So don't be nice, be kind, right? And I've got literally on my knee tattooed, be nice.
Oh, hilarious.
I want to get that laser off, change to be kind instead.
Yeah, you're going to have
be
to
nice. I've got a little angel. It's like a cherub with an AK-47, and out of the AK-47 it says, it sprays, it's coming out, it says, be nice. Yeah. Very weird tattoo. I go to my tattoo artist without any plans normally and say, just do what you think because he's really good. So he just does something cool.
Well, you can be nice, but it's funny, but nice is...
Yeah.
it's
I get it.
It's a difference,
it's a
you
cool,
know?
yeah.
What is the single biggest opportunity that most brands are missing out on right now?
That they're missing out on, I would say what we spoke about before. Well, can I say two things? I know you said single. I'll start with one, is to view affiliate as a strategy. It's not a channel, and get that holistic view of how it's impacting all of your marketing, different marketing channels. And I also be more aware of what the consumer wants. A lot of, I don't know if you see this, but I see a lot of brands, obviously they're trying to save costs, but they're quite focused on driving people. They would just want people to come back direct to their website or whatever. But that's, trying to build that loyalty, which is understandable, but a lot of customers don't want to do that. So you got to invest in that third-party verification, and that's where affiliate comes into its own, and don't be restricted by a budget. If you know you're getting a guaranteed outcome and you know what your margins are and you know a commission you can afford to play, why cap that? I don't know, did you guys we have a lot of clients and they're restricted by budget, and that's just because it's part of how the marketing team works and they see affiliate as a channel. And so we've got some great advertisers. One of our, where we see growth, it's not uncapped. They're like, we know what we can pay. Don't put a button, don't stop it.
If it works, keep putting the pennies in.
Keep putting it. You're getting, and then you got to measure that long-term value of that customer.
I would say if something's working in marketing, it's like this is a gaming term. It's like an infinite money glitch. So it's just why would you not? Keep doing that
and test and learn.
Test and learn. Linda, you've been, honestly, just such an amazing guest.
Is our time up already?
Yeah, we're getting kicked out of the studio. We could have gone on for about 3 or 4 hours, I think.
You guys are awesome.
You're such a good hang. It's been so great. Really, really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to find you or follow you, LinkedIn is that place?
LinkedIn, I'm there. Anyone can DM me. Love to hear from anyone. Linda O'Connell, CJ.
Nice.
You'll find me.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, please, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go do that. If you're on Spotify, follow it. Give us a comment, see what you think. We've got more episodes, great guests like Linda coming out in the future. And thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Yeah. My first proper podcast studio.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much.